Hey guys, hey, good to be back with you again. A little bit late tonight, I know, but let's go ahead and just jump on top of this. So what we're going to do here tonight is we're just going to do something really simple. We're going to play some NHLPA 93 on the Super Nintendo and sort of see how this game goes. This is my first time actually playing this game, so we'll see what we can do. We'll see if we can figure out the controls. This time around, unlike well, whatever it was, the other Genesis game we played, I actually did look up the goals, the goals. I looked up the rule book ahead of time, so I should be able to at least sort of figure out how it works. We'll do 10 minutes here and sort of figure out what we can do. We'll do only fighting penalties. We'll leave the line changes off. That's pretty good. It's not the only time I'm going to play this game. We'll come back and we'll play it again. Yeah, we'll see what happens. As usual, for those of you who are just visiting or have stumbled across this or whatever, this tends to be pretty casual and relaxed, as opposed to like, you know, a real like go get 'em, like this is the way that you speed run the game thing or whatever. I just want to sort of see what the game is like. What I was most curious about was the frame rate issues, and as is the case with the early Madden games on Super Nintendo, I can sort of feel some of the issues here as well. There are definitely some frame rate issues going on with this game. It's not awful. It's not as bad as like the first Madden game is on the Super Nintendo. But if you were going to like take this game and put it side by side with the Genesis game, the difference would be pretty obvious. So if you ever played the first Madden game for the Super Nintendo, you know what I'm talking about. It feels like it has a frame rate of like 10. This game is a little bit better than that, but there are still issues with the frame rate and with things kind of like skipping and, you know, not really feeling as smooth as it should for a game like this. So anyway, that's kind of what's going on here. The other issue with this game is the sound that you can hear. Like, the sound in this game is really static, and guys going hoo 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 hoo. By the way, I was offside there, and it didn't, or did I turn? I think I turned offsides off, so I don't think it matters. I thought there was a goal there too, by the way. Anyway, so yeah, I mean it's all right, I guess. I don't know. It's not necessarily a bad game, but you can tell that, you know, the Genesis version is really good because of how smooth the play is. And my understanding, so SNES Drunk, you guys probably have seen this, did a video very recently. It was like a couple days ago on Madden 95 and some of the like glitches and stuff that he found with that, the computer cheating and stuff. And in the introduction to that video, which I watched today, he talks about how the EA had a different team creating, I think it was Madden 93 and Madden 94. So this game is basically like Madden 93 time frame, and I'm not sure which team they had, which contractor or whatever they had creating this game, but I think that like it suffers sort of from similar issues where like, what was that? How did that happen? Was that my team that did that? I don't think anybody was even close to the puck. That was odd. Okay. But sort of the issue with those early Madden games is that they were basically just ports of the Genesis games, you know, sort of stuck on Super Nintendo. And so as a result, you know, the programming teams didn't really take advantage of any of the I wasn't going to say like the advantages necessarily of the Super Nintendo, but they didn't use any of like the you know, like hacks and things to try to get stuff to actually go at like the right speed. Like, if I remember right, I think that on paper the Sega Genesis is actually a little bit more capable than the Super Nintendo, if I remember right. You guys can correct me though, I might be completely wrong about that. It's been a little while since I've really looked into like the stats. But I think that the Genesis does have a faster processor, but the Super Nintendo was able to take advantage of, you know, certain interesting graphical things that could make the games in actuality flow a little bit faster, even though it didn't necessarily have the faster processor. And so anyway, that's one of the reasons why the Super Nintendo ended up being competitive for so long. But what the Super Nintendo needed was teams that were willing to like follow sort of its rules in terms of programming and its logic and stuff like that. And not everybody was really willing to like put in that kind of time and effort to do that stuff. And so one of the things I'll tell you is that one of the reasons why the sound sucks in this game is because the Super Nintendo was not quite as capable. Why was that icing? I thought that we touched it before. Whatever. The Super Nintendo is not quite that capable of you know, producing like a whole, you know, major variety of different like high quality sounds and things like that. I ran into that on my basketball channel when it came to NBA. Ooh, yeah, we tied. How about that? Bobby Hull, there we go. I ran into that on the basketball channel when we were playing. I'm sorry, it should be Brett Hull. When we were playing NBA Hang Time for the N64, or I'm sorry, for the Super Nintendo, and it was like the same couple of like, you know, sound clips over and over and over again, and somebody in the comments mentioned that the Super Nintendo was only capable of having so many different sound, you know, effects in a single game. Notice, by the way, that Pro Set logo there, advertising for the cars, that's always good stuff. But yeah, the Super Nintendo was not necessarily capable of using as many sounds as, you know, like the Genesis was, you know, as many different sounds and all that stuff. Especially if you had a game that wasn't really designed to, you know, like be used that way. Anyway, that I think is what's going on here. I'm using a lot of words to say not a whole lot of meaning. But that I think is kind of what's going on here. Basically that, you know, they have a little bit of music and then all this ugly static, and that's pretty much it. So like the Genesis game, like the crowd like gets into it. You can hear the crowd start to roar a little bit when certain things happen. Here it's just this like, I don't know, it feels like, you know, you're at the seaside or something like that. You know, it's just not, not really that well done. The play control in this game, though, is actually pretty good, and overall the flow of this game is good. It's a little bit abrupt, like when we suddenly go down the ice like that. I don't have the Genesis one right in front of me, but I believe the Genesis game has at least some sort of like transition screen, or there's a transition feel to it, instead of like you just suddenly appear on the other side of the screen, or on the other side of the ice. So anyway. Oh man, that was a wrist shot. That was amazing. Oh no, go the other way, go the other way. Now the other cool thing about this game is, oh, I knocked that over the board, that's why. The other cool thing about this game, of course, is that the physics of the player movement in this is just as good as it is in the Genesis version. And that's like a really, really, really excellent thing. So see, I can have the puck on this side, have it on that side, I can speed up, I can slow down, I can do all sorts of cool things. There we go. I mean, it's not perfect, right? But for a game that came out in like, I don't know what, like 1992 or something like that, is actually pretty good. And you can just plow through people like that too, that's pretty fun. Yeah, this would be what, like probably December 92 or something like that. I don't know. Well, I'll figure this out when it's time to, you know, do the actual video on this game and talk about it. One of the things that I'm kind of looking for when I'm playing this is if I want to do like two separate videos, one for the Genesis version, one for the Super Nintendo version, or put them both together. The big question is always like, are there any really like significant differences? I'm not seeing a lot, so it's probably not worth to do that. You know, I don't know. I think that the graphics are very comparable. It's just that the Super Nintendo version has a slightly worse frame rate. The controls are very, very similar. The sound, again, in the Super Nintendo version is not quite as good, but overall I think it's probably something where we could do like one video for both games. I think it would probably be perfectly fine. And anyway, if you want to know about like, is this game any fun, is this game worth playing, this game's a lot of fun. Again, like for for people who are, you know, doing like the emulation thing, if you're not talking about like, oh, this is the one game you have and you happen to only have this system or whatever. If you're doing emulation, you have the choice. I would still say you want to do the Genesis version, because the Genesis version is just faster and it feels smoother. Oh man. But having said that, I mean, this is actually a really good game. It's a really good port of NHLPA 93. We haven't had any fighting. So I'll tell you guys a little bit of sort of like channel business or whatever. Today's Saturday. It's still Saturday when as I'm videoing this, so it's a little bit later than I wanted it to be, but that's just the way it is. As you might have seen, I had a video that came out today talking about 1990, like the year in hockey cards. It's at least at the moment not exactly like the greatest viewed video in the world. It's okay. It's not a real big deal. So the way that YouTube works, I think a lot of content creators or whatever you want to call it kind of run into this every now and then. The way that YouTube works is that like if you have a channel that's focusing on like a specific topic, like you're playing like a lot of video games of old silly hockey games, and then you suddenly do a video that's on a slightly related thing, but it's different. Oftentimes the algorithm won't really, you know, show your new video that many to a large audience, or it might not know what your audience is or whatever. And like the way to get around that, as I've learned from experience, is to make more videos on the same topic or on a similar topic. So that's kind of what the plan is here. I'm likely going to end up making. Oh, get it. Ah, jeez. I'm probably going to make more sort of hockey card history videos in the future. So look out for that coming. Probably, like, we'll probably end up doing like one a month or something like that. The thing is that I mean, it sort of depends upon, you know, what kind of demand I see and stuff, and how much money I end up having and stuff, right? Like, I don't know. Like, I know that there are a lot of people who do a lot of like pack openings and stuff like that. I've thought about doing something like that, you know, with something that's vintage or whatever, but I'm not sure if... The thing is, I don't want to do the same thing that everybody else is doing, and honestly, a lot of that content is really, like, not engaging. I watch it and I get really bored, even if I know all the players, and, you know, it's... even if I think it's a good set, I still feel like it's kind of boring. So I don't know, I'm still thinking about, like, is there a better way to do it? Is there a better, more engaging way to present the topic and stuff? So I don't know. We'll come up with something, but I might be able to eventually think of something that'll give this channel a little bit more sort of videos on that front. The other thing that I'm looking at doing, probably the video, I think next Saturday will be a history-focused video. I'm going to look at the 1919 Stanley Cup. That's the one that was... never finished because of the influenza, and so I think it'll be interesting to take a look at that. I'm going to look at a bunch of like original newspaper articles and stuff like that. Anyway, look for that coming out eventually once I have it, like I have the research done, I have it written and stuff like that. And that's another thing that we'll probably do a lot of here on the channel, a lot of sort of hockey history videos, and I'm going to also look into a lot of sort of like media coverage of the sport and stuff like that, so a bunch of that stuff will come as well. You'll see, you know, as time goes on, we'll put this together slowly but surely. So that's kind of what we're looking at. I've been doing that kind of with all of the channels that I have, and the idea is to do like a mix of different types of things so that we have a good variety of content. It's not that, you know, video game content is bad or anything. Actually, I enjoy playing it a lot. It's just that, you know, I want to make sure that we have a pretty good mix of stuff to try to appeal to, you know, a pretty wide audience, and, you know, to have some fun, maybe cover some topics that not everybody talks about and stuff like that. So, anyway, we'll play different types of games too. I have one game that I'm pretty sure none of you have ever heard of that we're going to play. I'm going to play here. I was going to do it today, but I ran out of time. So I'll probably try to do it a little bit tomorrow, and we'll look into like some hockey statistical simulations and stuff like that, just so you guys can know a little bit more of sort of the stuff that's out there and all of that. So it'll be fun. And as far as this is concerned, I really like doing this. I like having this sort of like, you know, more casual kind of like just sit back and play a game type thing. And It helps, as I've said before, it helps a lot with getting B-roll for, you know, videos of all sorts of types and stuff like that. Before with my other channels, what I was noticing is that I would go to like make a video and I would be like, oh crap, I really want to like have a clip from like this game or that game, and then I would end up spending time like playing it, and it takes a lot of time. But it's a little bit better if I can do it sort of in a relaxed way and, you know, kind of kill two birds with one stone, make a video about it, and, you know, try to get a little bit of attention or whatever doing that. I mean, I don't know. It works well with the YouTube algorithm as well. Did they really pull their goalie? They're down by 2. Why did they do that? But yeah, they did. Look at that. So we can score a 4th. Well, we don't have enough time anyway. Take that. Take that. Take that. No fights, huh? Anyway, so there you go. There's a whole bunch of other games that I have that we'll try too. I've got a couple of games that are on Steam that are sort of, you know, hockey action games and stuff like that. So you can look forward to that stuff coming here eventually. We'll just do a little bit at a time. We don't have any rush. So anyway, there you go. That's a little look at hockey at NHLPA 93 on the Super Nintendo. And we'll see what we have tomorrow for you. We'll do something different. I don't know. We'll play something that maybe you haven't seen before. Something like that. Talk to you then. Bye.